That was a lot of numbers.
That was a lot of numbers, yep.
Hope you got all that.
So they're 24 and they're going to take 3 months off just to travel India because they can. And the reason they can is because of real estate. Hey guys, Matt McKeever here. And so you've recently been complaining about the lack of numbers on my channel, that I'm not diving into enough deals anymore. So look at this. All these numbers. All the numbers. We're going to dive into this triplex in Windsor, Ontario. The thing is, I know nothing about this triplex. So I'm going to bring on my good friends, Matt and Cassidy. So come on guys. Say hi to the camera.
Hey everyone.
Hello.
And so, just to give you a quick little summary, you're going to see a lot more of them on my channel as well. I'll have a link to their YouTube channel, so you can just jump in the video description down below and jump over there. But essentially, and correct me if I get this wrong, but around age 20, they decided to take the leap of faith. They kind of caught the entrepreneurship bug, and they dropped out of university. And then shortly after that, they did one of those rich dad, poor dad free seminars. Maxed out their credit cards to get access to all kinds of debt so that they could get into real estate investing. And essentially, fast forward a year after that, at like age 21, they acquired their first triplex. Shortly after that, you acquired 2 more properties in like 5 months.
Yeah.
And so many of you are constantly commenting on my channel saying that you're in university or college or high school and you're wanting to get into real estate investing, but like it's impossible because you're not an adult yet. It's impossible because you're still in university. Well, I think these guys have a fantastic story, so I'm just going to let them jump in and they're going to walk you through all the numbers on their triplex. So take it away, guys.
Thanks. All right, so like Matt said, we got our first deal when we were 21, so this was back in 2014, and this was a triplex in Walkerville in Windsor. So we love the neighborhood Walkerville. At the time, it was still kind of up and coming. It was still a little bit rough, but it's turned into quite a trendy neighborhood, and we were kind of right in, kind of caught the front end of that wave of trendiness, so it's good timing. But this triplex was in rough shape when we first got it. It was vacant and needed quite a bit of work, and it was only $170,000. Big old place. I think it was built in 1908.
Yep.
So old place, lots of character, and Matt here is the numbers guy, and he's gonna walk you through all this. Take it away.
All right, I'll hop right in. So yeah, like Cass said, we bought the triplex for $170,000. It did need quite a bit of work. We put around $20,000 per unit into the property, so came to a total of $60,000. I'm rounding to, you know, about the nearest thousand here, but it makes the math kind of simple. So let's add those two together. You get $230,000. That's how much total money went into the property. Now, not all of that was ours, and in fact, none of it really was ours. It was my parents who had some equity in their property. We'll jump into that a little more on another video, but essentially we did a joint venture partnership with them, and from that, out of that $230,000, we put in about $100. 40 of which went towards the down payment, 60,000 went to the renovations, so add it up, we get $100,000. Now jump forward a few years later, today it's worth about $300,000. We owe around $120,000 on the mortgage, leaving us equity of $180,000. If you subtract what we put into it, that means we've gained about $80,000 worth of equity within about 3 years. Luckily, our numbers are super easy here. If we put in $100,000 and we get $80,000 in gains, then we made 80% over 3 years, or roughly 26 and a bit per year. But that's not the only way that we make money on this, because like Cass said, it's in an up and coming area. We're able to get pretty decent rents, and they are really nice units. So we've got $3,200 a month coming in. Our expenses on that, which is taxes, insurance, our vacancy maintenance repair fund, we've got $1,100. The tenants pay all the utilities, which is something we really like to do on all of our properties. And then we've got our mortgage of $1,000 per month, leaving us cash flow of roughly $1,100. So if we're looking at actual returns, and this is what I like to propose to my investors, how are you going to make money and what does that look like? Well, with real estate, you got 3 ways to make your money. You've got your cash flow. If we take 1,100 times 12, we're making about $13,000 per year. On our initial investment of $100,000, that means our cash on cash return is 13.2. If you're talking to somebody who hasn't really been involved with real estate, it's the equivalent of a dividend if you're buying stocks. So your dividend payment is essentially 13.2%. We've also got our mortgage being paid down because not all of this $1,000 a month is lost. About half of it at the interest rates that we have goes towards the bank for basically the privilege of using their money. The other half gets paid down on our mortgage, which means that our equity in the property is going up by about $5,500 per year. And you can't really bank on appreciation, but it definitely does happen. Sometimes, like the last year that we've had, 2017, appreciation has been huge, and due to the power of leverage, every percent that that happens in appreciation, sometimes you can go 3, 4, 5% on your investment. But if we're just taking a look at 3% appreciation, then we're getting about $9,000 per year in increased market value. So overall, between our 3 different ways of making money, we make about just under $28,000 a year, or divided by our initial investment is about 28%. So not bad. But the reason why we really love real estate is the fact that every 3 to 5 years, you can basically take that money that you've built up in the property, take it out, tax-free because it's a loan, at least tax-free for now, and use those funds to either go and reinvest or pay off the line of credit maybe you used to borrow the funds in the first place. Anything that you want to do with that money, it's yours to use. So if we take our look at our current value of the property of $300,000, I'm going to be pretty conservative here and say the banks are only going to lend us about 2/3 of that. It can, usually it's a lot more and sometimes even up to 80%, but let's say they would only give us $200,000 to borrow against our property that's worth $300,000. Given that we already owe $120,000 over the last 3 years, we paid off about $10,000 worth of equity. So even though we bought it for $170,000, we had a $40,000 down payment, got a mortgage for $130,000. Today we owe about $120,000. So if you subtract that from what the banks will give it to us, and we're doing this in the next couple of months, then we're looking at getting about $80,000, basically cash in hand or check to go and use however we'd like to. So if we're doing that, then our initial investment goes from $100,000, actually minus the $80,000 that we get, really we only have $20,000 into the property. So what that means, taking a look back at the actual numbers that we have here, our cash flow might go down a little bit because our mortgage payment goes up, but we're still looking at least $10,000 a year in cash flow. And in fact, our mortgage paydown will actually go up if we're borrowing more money. But if we're getting $10,000 a year divided by 20,000, we're actually getting a 50% cash on cash return. We're getting a mortgage paydown of still about $5,000 or $6,000 on 20,000 invested is 30% there. And then our appreciation at 3% or $9,000 per year is actually a return of about 45%. So overall, if we're making about 27,000 off of 20,000, we're getting an excess of 100% return on investment each year. And in fact, if they let us borrow more money, then our investment can even be as low as 0 in some cases, negative investment, meaning we get paid to buy this property. So if you can have situations where you are getting 100% to basically infinite return on your investment, it's not too hard to build up a really profitable empire on that model.
That was a lot of numbers.
That was a lot of numbers, yep.
Hope you got all that.
That was awesome, guys. And so just so you guys know, that was all done in one take. They didn't, usually I cut my videos up a bunch. They didn't stumble over their words at all. So I just want to give you guys props for that.
We've got a calculator brain, so
yeah.
Works out.
But so you definitely are going to want to jump over and learn more about the Windsor market, but also learn more about Cassidy and Matt's journey. So there's going to be a link in the video description down below. Check that out. Definitely, we're going to get them on Instagram soon, so you're definitely going to want to follow along because they're taking a crazy journey to
India. They leave me in 2 days.
And for 3 months.
For 3 months.
That's kind of what the value of this real estate investing gets, is the fact that you guys are now how old?
24.
So they're 24 and they're going to take 3 months off just to travel India because they can. And the reason they can is because of real estate. So anyways, appreciate you guys taking the time to watch this video. Smash that like button if you haven't already done so. Definitely subscribe to their channel and mine if you haven't already done so. And we'll see you in the next video. Thanks guys. Bye.